What up?
And we're live.
Hey, I'm
From
Gina
New
Hyena.
York City.
I'm Gina
She's
Hyena.
Gina. Okay.
I
She's
hate
Gina
this
Hyena.
so much.
Yeah.
All right. This is why we usually have to wear headphones, because talking over that was probably so obnoxious to anybody who actually listens to this.
No, that's good audio, especially if you're just listening.
I'm Gina Hyena. This is Spencer Cavins. We are the Sauce Lords. Where did Sauce Lords was also like your internet?
It's my Xbox gamer tag.
Sick.
And also my fantasy football team name still is. And listen, we've been to the finals 3 times, only taken home 1 ring.
Okay, but where did it start? Like, why Sauce Lords?
I think, because it works both ways. One, we're saucy.
Hey.
We're very saucy. We're dripping in sauce. But then also it's like, sauce in a gross, like a sauce stain. And as you said before, you said I was, I believe the word you used was a booger person.
Yeah, you're mucus.
And so I like to think that the sauce is like kind of like a salty ectoplasm.
Yeah, I like that. It's like I don't want to get too much into it, but I was like, yeah, I do like that people think that like we're good, like clean, like you see us in a comedy crew and you're like, oh, they shower, they must be doing well. They don't belong in comedy. Meanwhile, I texted you, I was like, get out of my bathroom, I gotta take a shit.
It's
I was
funny
sweated on the way to Starbucks.
It's funny that you bring this up. So you're of course referring to the fact that I'm staying in your apartment, and I had to take a dump, and then I showered, and you only have the one shower, and I didn't see my phone, but you were texting me while I was showering, saying like, please I have to use the bathroom because you had the diarrhea real bad, and you had to go to you had the diarrhea, and so you went to Starbucks and did your diarrhea there.
It wasn't diarrhea. It was just a lot, and it was a mound. It breached.
But what I want to tell you is that in reference to you saying that, the perception is that we're these fun, clean, showered people. When I was showering, I actually didn't wipe because I knew that I was just going to be able to go into your shower, and your water pressure is so good.
It's so good.
It's an aerial bidet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You bent over to it?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like a drone strike into your asshole.
You showed your yoni.
Well, yeah, I sunned my yoni in there. And then, so while you were running to Starbucks to
pretend
diarrhea,
I was pregnant,
I was spraying my asshole.
And this is why it's Sauce Lords, everybody.
And so that's why Sauce Lords. Yeah.
In short, that's why it was very shameful. I've pulled this a few times, which I don't know, smoke them if you got them, ladies. But I always like fake a pregnancy in situations mostly regarding to the bathroom.
Mostly to scare boys.
Yeah. That I went to Starbucks and like breathed out my mouth on the way there. So I walked by people in New York being like it was I was like, this could go any fucking way.
Yeah. And
of course there was somebody in the bathroom. So I knocked on the door, and I knocked on the door twice. And then I also asked the woman working there if I could use the employee bathroom. Because we were like at that moment.
Yeah.
Like we were at the
yeah.
I don't know, 0 dark 30 is what I'm just going to throw out there.
You were
there was a terrorist situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I talked to the employee, and she was like, no, we only have one bathroom. And I was like, I have morning sickness. And she was like, I'll get you a garbage can. So then, just to be a grosser person, I was standing outside of a public bathroom with just a garbage can next to me. And I was like, it might get down to that. Like,
yeah.
Might.
But I also love that to you, what was less embarrassing than just a very normal thing, which is just, hey, sorry, because you could have just said, I have to poop real bad. It's the same thing. But instead, the sense of urgency was, I have morning sickness. I like that was like less gross.
I do. I touched the stomach,
unwed woman. Too. You have no ring on your finger, and you're pregnant.
Yeah.
Which of course is
you
the
feel
same.
bad for me. You feel bad for me. So you want to let me use the employee bathroom at that point.
But then you did. So, counter-terrorists win.
I think there's any time that you're showing shame like that, the opposite party is like, wow, that's a really embarrassing thing to say. So it must be true. There's no way somebody would want to do that. I've done it on a plane before too, where I've wanted to sit in the aisle, and I've just been like, I'm going to have to use the restroom a lot because I'm pregnant. And
really?
The guy's,
God, I can't do that.
No,
I can't say I'm pregnant. I just have to say
Now you can.
I had grilled cheese. So may I please have the aisle?
May I please have the aisle? I had a lot of Diet Coke today.
Yeah. By the way, I'm like I found that I'm lactose intolerant as I get older, right? And what most people think that means is that you're lactose intolerant means you can't have dairy. And that's not true. I still have dairy. It just means that I'm going to diarrhea so much.
Yeah, you got bubble guts.
Yeah, which to me is a win-win because I get to have pizza and I get diarrhea.
I love that this seems like we have like a gastrointestinal podcast.
Well, we kind of do.
Like this is.
But that's why sauce lords.
We're just GI people.
We're on a. So we're live. We're live in New York City.
Hey. No, it's been great having you here. It's really fun. It's nice having people. We did Shelter last night at the Comedy Shop.
Your show. That was a very fun show.
Yeah, it was dope to see. Like, I'm a gross old Italian lady now, so I love seeing like different people I know from like different points in my life. Like having like you and Dave Caggiano and Ryan Foster there, and then we had Haley Montgomery from Atlanta, which. Haley, you're so sweet, and I'm such a bitch. I couldn't remember her last name when she showed up, and I was like, how do you say your last name? And she was like, Montgomery. It's one of those situations you're like, how do you say that again? And they're like, Jones. And you're like, well, fuck me, huh?
Yeah,
It's shit.
Also just such a good Southern broad's name.
Yeah.
Haley Montgomery.
Yeah.
Like the Montgomery family's been in Atlanta, Georgia for a little longer than they'd like to care, and then they care to admit.
Big Stone Mountain fan.
Yeah.
Do you know about Stone Mountain?
No.
Oh, so
aren't all mountains Stone Mountain?
Hey. This guy.
The truth.
No, so I only know about Stone Mountain because with a job, I'm not gonna get into what industry I'm in. I'm sure we will at some point, but fuck it. I'm in the pharma industry, and so we were all going for training, and like you get a ton of people together, have the conference, and usually it's at like a really nice. Usually it's Vegas or somewhere in the middle of the country where you can get like big hotel conference centers, but you can also have some fun. And this one was trying to cut costs. So they booked at Stone Mountain, Georgia. And we were like, okay, what's that? Like whatever. Okay enough fucking hotel situation. But then like the celebration event that we were all done with training was at Stone Mountain. They have a laser show on the mountain.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
We get there. It's not lasers. It's literally like a old timey, like it's like Peanuts, like Charlie Brown is being projected onto the mountain. But the mountain has carvings of like Confederate like generals.
Confederate cave drawings.
It's like Confederate like generals. Like it's like where it was like a monument made to them.
That was just their insurance policy in case the statues ever got taken down.
They got the
It was like, all right, we'll come get. And
that's what like half my coworkers were like, I'm really uncomfortable with this. Like I was like, yeah, why did we come here for a celebration? That's like a bad. How
good are the drawings though? Like are they in detail or is it just?
It's
is
an
it
etching.
like a cave drawing of?
Oh no, it's not a drawing. It's an etching. Like it's like almost like the. Like, what's that? Rushmore?
Yeah.
It's like that. It's carved into the mountain.
Big. What size are we talking?
Big.
Yeah.
Big carving of, and I was like, why are we?
Just of Nathaniel Bedford Forrest.
Like, nobody thought this was important.
Dude, people are so into generals. It's like, why? Here's my thought on, like, people who really, really care about the statues.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to treat them the same way that I would when, like, if my little sister wears, like, an AC/DC shirt, which, like, it's fine. It's fine that you do it. But
you're like, what's your favorite song?
Name 3 of your favorite battles. And Gettysburg doesn't count.
Yeah.
Name 3 of your favorite Robert E. Lee battles.
Yeah.
And if you can't, I don't want to hear your take.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I always get upset about Columbus because I'm like, hey, that's our guy. Because that's the way I grew up being Italian. We're like, hey, stop talking about Christopher Columbus like that. And it's like more and more that you learn. You're like, that's...
Not even for any of those reasons. He didn't find America. He found the Caribbeans. He never set foot on mainland America.
Yeah, it was Amerigo Vespucci.
And everybody's like, oh, he found America. He's not. There's nothing American about Christopher Columbus. He's an Italian creep.
Hey,
who wound
we're
up
all a little creepy.
Yeah, I know, and he was number 1. Yeah, you think Cuomo's bad? Columbus found the Caribbeans, never came to America, and he was working for Spain, and he was trying to find India, so he wasn't even good at his job.
I don't even understand.
Found a whole different place.
That whole time frame, like when you read these stories, you're like, so he went to the king and he was like, hey, can I have 3 ships? And you're like, what are we saying right now?
Yeah. Can I have 3 ships? Why? Spice?
Yeah. But like also, what fucking time frame is this? That like, you're like, oh, you just go up to a king and ask for ships? Like, what's the process for an appointment? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
What you do is there are just guys, how dope to be a king and just have people come up to you with that.
No, it'd be annoying as fuck. Dude, think about how irritated. No, think about how irritated you get when you walk 10 city blocks in New York and the number of people that come up to you and ask you for something. Now imagine that those same people, because that's how the king sees all of these people, even if you have a job, you're all just homeless, toothless nobodies to the king. And they're coming to you're eating a piece of mutton. And these guys just keep showing up, just like, please, will you fund my enterprise? And you're like, I'd prefer not to.
It'd be cool if people are bringing their mixtapes to the king.
Yeah.
Hey, man, this is fire.
Have you ever heard me play the harp, Your Highness?
Can I please play you?
Listen to these chords. Ding, ding, ding.
What?
Ding, ding, ding. And then sometimes the king was just like, oh, very good. It's like, no, it wasn't. It's a harp.
You're like, what
it's
are we
lyre.
basing this off
of? It's so bad. The king had to be all impressed by like a bard. Some guy sings a song about traveling through a forest.
Did you ever play those those video games that were like,
probably
you're a mage or you're a bard?
Yeah, I still do. Yeah.
What do you like? What do you fuck with? Like,
I'm a rogue. I always like to be stealthy.
I know exactly what a rogue is. Yeah. That's why I'm dying.
I like to sneak and steal.
Oh, you are a rogue. You are sneaky.
I like to do all the things in the game that like I wish I could do in real life. Just like be so like
you're always like the pictures always are like cloaked.
I wish I could be doing this podcast from behind that plant.
Next one we'll do.
That would be. And that I had poison daggers in case you spot me. Like that's what I'd prefer.
I'm dead. I'm mage, but I fuck with bards.
Yeah, of course you're a mage though, because you believe in magic.
Yeah,
dude. You make fun of people
because I don't make it my whole personality.
You don't make it your whole personality, but you make fun of people for so many things. I'm gonna say the embarrassing thing, by the way. I'm gonna say
don't say the whole thing.
I'm gonna say the whole thing.
No, you'll ruin it. Because I believe in magic.
No, but I already ruined it. I already ruined the stone. You
did ruin the stone.
You have a tray, like the type of tray that you're supposed to eat TV dinners off of that, by the way. That's what that's for. That's for eating hungry man sirloin steaks. And instead, you have a tray of crystals and smudge sticks, which, by the way, nobody ever finishes their smudge sticks. It's always like, you're like Fidel Castro. You just have it. It's all looks gnawed on and like barely burnt. And you have
smudge, and then you put it down.
You have all these stones, which I can only imagine you use as sex toys. And one of them is sitting on a wristband that you got from the first time you did the Vulcan with Tony Hinchcliffe
and Joe Rogan.
I'm like,
let's not make it that.
No,
shitty.
I was trying to state their credits in order of best to worst. It was Tony Hinchcliffe and Joe Rogan was also there. And you have a stone on top of it to absorb the energy from that experience.
It's not to absorb, but it's not to absorb. Sponge, it's just to take it in. Not even to absorb it. But okay, so here's the whole thing with why I'm like, okay, I fuck with crystals and I fuck with like totems is, I guess, what I would call them. Mm. Fuck you for bringing this up.
Rocks is the
fuck you
term most of us would use. No, but please explain your totems.
I fuck with them.
Real quick, did you buy your totems at a Bed Bath and Beyond?
Hey, I got them at Claire's. Thank you very much. No, so I fuck with them. I'm gonna give you a scientific explanation as to why I fuck with them.
Please.
So for that one, first off, I just like the idea that that's a brown one because it's for your sacral chakra. Is what that stone is for. Is what makes you grounded. By your sacrums, your fucking sacral chakra. It keeps you grounded. So
you just keep saying sacral chakra like that's supposed to communicate.
Like
I don't know. What is sacral? Dave, sacral? Do you know what any of this is? Do you know what a sacral chakra is?
Do you know what sacral?
Sacral.
Like your sacrum? Like your hips?
I know what mackerel.
You don't know what your sacrum is?
No.
Oh, it's like your hip bones and the bottom part.
I'm a boy. We don't have those.
We don't know how to shake those. I'm a man.
We talked about this. Don't make this like a female reproductive podcast. I don't want to talk about sacral.
Why? There needs
shedding.
to be more of those. I think there needs to be more of those. So it's for your sacral chakra. It's the bottom one. Like usually when you're trying to align your chakras, you start with the bottom and you work your way up. The top one is your crown chakra. That's like you're like fucking enlightened. But you got to get through like your heart chakra, like, and you got to get through your throat chakra. Like you're not speaking things that like you're holding shit in. And like your heart chakra can be blocked. You're not capable of like loving, or you're not capable of accepting love. But you got to start with the bottom. So that one's there because it makes you feel grounded. So I get anxious a lot and I get like fucking heady. You've seen me, you're staying with me. I don't ever stop moving.
Yeah.
I've seen you try to like, you're like, wait, where is she going? I'm like, I just don't stop moving. Like I'm always like moving things.
Yeah, by the way, I haven't been thinking that.
Oh, really?
I haven't been watching you saying, well, where's she going?
Oh, yeah.
You have a 3-bedroom apartment. I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking you're taking a shit.
You're just always thinking about what I'm thinking.
And I see you. You're always thinking like, where's she going next? No, I don't. You're getting water.
You're always wondering what I'm doing.
Like not once have I thought, where's she going?
No, please don't leave. It's fucking one
Using me
bedroom
with your weird dog. I don't think that.
So you gotta ground yourself, whatever the fuck. I'm always anxious. So yeah, of course you want to like relate it to a good thing. And then that way, if you ever get anxious, you hold it or you meditate with it and it just brings you back to when you felt good. So that one, it's like, okay, if I believe that this is going to ground me, or if I bring it to a meditation class, or if I bring it to yoga, then if it's like I'm having a fucking wild day and I have it in my pocket, I'm like, oh, that will just remind me. Like, because it's like what fires together wires together with neurons. So that's why sometimes people like coffee and a cigarette. So then all of a sudden you start being like, when you have a coffee, you're like, fuck, I need a cigarette.
So it's association.
Yeah, but it's a physical thing. Like your neurons literally fire together.
But because you've created an association with the stone and a positive thing.
Yeah. It's not like I don't believe like that. The stone is going to like do something wild. It's literally like I'm hijacking my neurons.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for you, you understand that there's nothing inherent. So it could be anything. It doesn't need to be a stone. It could be a paperclip. But if you create that association, that makes sense. Also Xanax.
Yeah. Xanax is something. But that's what so it's like I always think of how everything is the same fucking thing. So like that, like everybody's like, crystals. But if you do it like in that way, I'm like, praying is the same thing as fucking meditating. Like you're getting yourself in, you go to a church, you go to a place of peace, you try to like get into a certain like theta wave of like, or you get your brain into a certain different mind frame. And you hold it, usually like old Italian lady, you're holding a rosary. So that's why it's like when something bad's happening or like you're in the hospital, you want your rosary and like you want to hold it. I don't know. You probably don't have.
No, anytime I'm in the hospital going through my chemo treatments, I like to hold.
I know. I'm so glad you beat the ball cancer.
No, but I hear what you're saying. What you're saying is the world is your religion.
I'm a global citizen.
Yeah, I'm a citizen of the globe. I think, what is it? Think locally, act. No, think globally, act locally.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You're not doing that?
No. If by that you mean like buying clothes made in China, like is that,
I'm
thinking globally,
and I bought that Chinese shirt locally.
You know, I was thinking about how it's like all these people in Austin and all that stuff are like, no, like stop Asian hate. I'm like, if you went to, and I'm like, I get it. I get you care about Asian people in America. Absolutely. Don't punch them in the face at the grocery store. Like, don't do that. But like, if you went over to China, like you guys have clothes on your dogs. Like if you saw a person eating dog, which is like just their culture. It's just like, you can't fuck with it. You would freak the fuck out and you would try to push your like weird hippie sit on a fucking lake culture on them. So I'm like,
right.
But then sometimes I think about how it's funny that my dog has dog toys that are made in China. And I'm like, wow, real.
Look at that.
Yeah.
The Chinese giveth and the Chinese taketh away. They're like God to these dogs.
Yeah. I believe that's what the Buddhists call karma.
Yeah. It's funny because of course we shouldn't have any Asian hate, but you know who's not preaching that is Asians about other Asians. They're like keep Asian hate, just not about us. But
yeah,
definitely fuck the Koreas, both of them. Japan, fuck them. Taiwan, fuck them.
Yeah, South Korea isn't like, hey.
I want to hear a really compelling take. I'm not researched on this at all, but I'd like to hear a really compelling take from a really intellectual Chinese nationalist on like why fuck Taiwan. Like I wonder if they could convince me if they're just like, well, I'll tell you why. And maybe Taiwan is up to some shit that we don't know about, and they finish, and I'm like,
that's why I loved all the like,
and their pretty flag.
I like seeing both sides, and I like seeing both sides memes. Like when so like when all that stuff happened with like Ukraine, and then there was the other side that was like, no, fuck Ukraine, and I was like, oh, and they had some good memes about it, and I was like, oh, it really, like, I'm like, if you're not read up on the situation, you take what they give you.
The Russians are a meme factory. They're good at the internet.
So good.
They're memeing. Yeah.
They're so good at it. Imagine if that's your job. You work in a Russian troll farm.
A Russian troll farm. Yeah.
And you just make memes.
What's funny is there's so many Americans on Facebook doing it for free.
Yeah, idiots.
And it's like, go to Russia and get paid.
Yeah.
Get your Edward Snowden on.
Oh, have you ever seen? There's a video that's Russian propaganda against America. It's it came out like maybe 15, 20 years ago.
Pretty compelling stuff.
It's so good.
Is it claymation?
It's a claymation of a bald eagle. Just two bald eagles fucking each other. Just gay bald eagles. No, we're like, America started AIDS with two gay bald eagles. No, it's like shot on like a VHS, like where it's like very kind of janky, and it's shots of New York City, and it's like when it's snowing out, and it's just making us look like, because it looks dreadful walking around New York City if you paint it in the wrong way.
Yeah,
so it's like all these people, and he's like, yeah, Americans, they're crowded. Sometimes they eat pigeon to survive. The Americans hate snow. Sometimes they use snow as their drink. Like, and it's very like they're like, America is a horrible.
Yeah, but like, don't judge us by our worst. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you got some people eating pigeon. Yeah, that's always gonna happen. That's everywhere.
They're just So they
have I eaten snow? Yeah.
Isn't that wild to think about? How gross.
Yeah.
How gross.
Well, I didn't eat city snow. I was on at a beautiful lodge with my family skiing. I was in Vail.
Love how different our lives are. Like, I went back to go see my dad for Father's Day, and I brought steaks from Butcher Box, and my mom thought that was
wild. Yeah.
What is it called?
They come in a box now.
Butcher Block? And I'm like, please stop.
Yeah.
And then I make steaks for my dad for Father's Day, and he drinks it with chocolate milk.
Oh, yeah.
Not milk.
Yeah.
Just makes himself. That's always how I knew when my dad was home. I'd hear a spoon clinking.
Right. And by the way, your dad probably read an article in 1998 about how chocolate milk was like great for like testosterone. It's just not
Build
true.
strong bones. It's like a guy with an old-timey mustache.
Yeah. It's actually going to make you gay.
Well, now he's like, switched to, because my godfather was over who just is like fighting cancer. And he goes, so you're still drinking chocolate milk, Tone? He goes, yeah. Almond milk now. Like, that's still so trashy.
Yeah.
Still so trashy.
But how do you expect, one, you can't expect people to like keep up with anything, but especially, I mean, the milks especially. The milks change all the time. And dude, I always think about this.
The fucking milks change all the
but they really
time.
do. Like it was low fat milk, and then it was almond milk, and then now almond milk is, it's like the worst one you can buy now. So
oat milk.
It's always changing. Here's something I always think about in relation to our parents is that it's one of the things that I think is scary about having a kid, right? Is that when you have a kid, if you're responsible, some people are going to have a kid at 16 and that sucks. But then there's less of a gap. You're actually probably ideologically closer to each other if you're a teen mom. That's why they're always like, we're friends first. But in most cases, you're like 30 to 40 years separated from your kid. Yeah. Right. So the world changes all the time. It's why all of us think that
lame.
It's why all of us think our parents are bigots, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like the time passes and it passes so quick.
I wonder where you get stuck. Like, where did your parents get stuck at a certain year?
Yeah, well, I always think about this. Like, my mom, listen, growing up, I thought my mom was like the most racist person in the world. But that's just because of all the racist shit she would say and do. And
it's only because we had those people working for us.
Yeah, it's only because of all the things she would say to the landscapers. But then, all right, so I think about it. It's like, all right, so she grew up in segregated Georgia, rural segregated Georgia.
Yeah.
And, the school she went to was probably like Robert E. Lee Elementary. Like they had a very different, they taught
Yeah.
history way differently. Like her version of the Civil War, way different than the version I got. When they were learning about presidents and they got to Abraham Lincoln, the teacher was probably like, oh yeah, you know, president party pooper. Well, her assignment was to write a 500-word essay on why Abraham Lincoln's a drag.
Why?
You know?
Why he deserved it.
Yeah.
You're like, this queer was going to see a play and he's supposed to be leading our country. He's sitting down watching, taking in theater.
Yeah.
What?
My favorite thing about Abraham, because I grew up always thinking like Abraham Lincoln was the shit. And he's still like, I read about him.
You're like, now I'm over it.
No, I'm a big Abe fan because he obviously did a lot of great things.
Yeah.
He had big ears and he was funny. And he freed the slaves, which was obviously huge.
Yeah. But the ears most important.
But the ears were the big thing. And he was quite the jokester. But one of my favorite things is that he knew he was going to get assassinated. And that's one of those like Abraham Lincoln.
How did he know? Did he have a crystal ball or like?
No, he would have dreams about it. And he told Mary Todd 2 days before going to the theater. He told Mary Todd that he knew he was going to get assassinated. And everyone thinks that's so crazy.
You don't believe in magic things then?
No, because everyone thinks that's so crazy. And it's like, of course he knew he was going to be assassinated. He freed the slaves. Like he literally, no, truly, he like started a war, you know, it's like,
He's like, someone's going to kill me. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Like he had a premonition. It's like ancient aliens came and let him know. And you're like, no, he actually like did something where a lot of people were angry.
So many people are mad and you don't have security.
Yeah.
Like
it's like Osama bin Laden had like having dreams and he was like, I just got a feeling.
I got a feeling that this cave's about to get lit up. I don't know. Call me a magician. I don't know.
I've been having these.
Did he also have dreams that he failed a test he didn't study for? Like, yeah,
dream
makes
all
sense.
His teeth fell out.
Yeah.
Osama bin Laden was like, "Damn, I failed algebra again, you guys."
Yeah,
like, you're not in school anymore.
Dude,
it's the other thing.
So I grew up in Seattle, which is obviously it's one of the most liberal cities imaginable. Like it's alongside Portland. So, but my dad's from Texas. My mom was from Georgia.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all were just in Seattle?
Yeah, he had moved there for work. And they bought me and my brother Civil War costumes. Mm-hmm. So part of being... You see where I'm going with this?
That took a second. I was like, that's really funny.
Civil War costumes.
Yeah.
You want to guess what uniform mine was?
Were you a Confederate one?
Because there's a thing about being a younger brother where it's always like you always get the worst thing. He's Mario, you're Luigi.
Oh, that's
He's
great.
a Union soldier wearing the blues. I'm...
Yeah.
I look like
in your mom's mind,
the Virginia Cavalry.
Your mom's mind, you were the winners. Maybe you got to reframe that.
Yeah, my mom was like, you get this one because you're my special little boy.
But
yeah, so we're like running around the park. I'm dressed as a Confederate soldier.
That's crazy.
In a park in Seattle.
Good old days, you know? Back when a kid could run around in a Confederate
Yeah, back when he could just rebel yell around the neighborhood.
Now you got to do that on the freaking VR. You can't do it.
You got to simulate. The Confederates aren't even playable characters anymore.
Are they?
I don't know.
I was going to ask, I was like, is there a Call of Duty where you can be the Confederate soldiers?
There's not really a lot of Civil War games because I think the way that warfare was, it wasn't like run and gun.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know.
It's just the whole
It would
game
be boring. You're constantly
a lot of walking.
Yeah, it's like tap X to like load the rod into your rifle. It's boring as fuck.
That's what our college, because I'm from Massachusetts, and a lot of history in Massachusetts is the UMass Minutemen. And it's a guy with a rifle because it took them a minute to do that. And it was always just such a joke because it was like, we're literally called the Minutemen.
Yeah.
Like.
And then you had sex and you were like, yeah, you are.
Real Minuteman. I can't even tell you how many times that was like thrown around.
Yeah,
he goes, UMass.
Of course.
Yeah. Fuck a dude. He seems like he's a real UMass alumni.
UMass, you come quick. It's like, we all do.
It's kind of like.
It's not regional. Exactly. We're 19.
It's not regional.
One more thing I want to share really quick because this just reminded me about the worse than the Confederate costume is that. So remember in school you would play like a historical, or you'd have to do a report on a historical character and dress up as them. Did you ever have to do that?
Sure, but I don't remember it.
Okay, so my sister got Sojourner Truth.
Oh no!
Now I don't remember what Sojourner Truth did. but I want to say she was a freed slave. I don't. Is it something? I don't know. Whatever.
I'm pretty sure she made space ice cream. I'm pretty sure she's the one that
she made space ice cream, right?
Yes.
Which is, I believe, that's what Hidden Figures is about.
Dehydrated. Yes, that's what Hidden Figures is. The story of Sojourner Truth making dehydrated ice cream.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Was all the flavors, or just like she nailed?
No, it's a Neapolitan. It's just you got the 3 in there.
Oh, boring.
Yeah.
Because you always like dodge straw.
You want cocoa. You want cookie dough.
Really only want one side.
Yeah.
So she had to dress up as Sojourner Truth.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, rather than just saying, yeah, just dress up old timey and go give the best presentation on Sojourner Truth you can, my mom said, let's fix up that face.
Oh, no.
She put a nylon over my sister's head. And Gina, she cut out the eyes.
Your mom's a peach. Your mom's a real Georgia peach.
I mean, God bless her, because I think at the last minute, like, so she cut out the eyes. Just my little sister, my like 8-year-old sister, just in there like with a cutout mouth, a little white mouth.
Did you have neighbors?
In her eyes, dude. I don't know what the neighbors thought of us. I'm doing rebel yells. My sister. I mean, you're listen. At best, that's blackface.
1000%.
At worst, she just looks like
stuck a nylon on your kid's face.
She looks like a Klan member who lost their hood and was like late to a meeting. You know, they just have to improvise, like
use this.
Yeah, just like put a sock over your head and go into the woods.
That works. Paper towel roll.
So like last minute, my mom did look and was like, "Yeah, we can't do that."
Yeah, bad idea. You're like, Mom, why did your brain even think of that?
I know. She was trying to be creative.
I do love the facts. It's so funny because, like we said, it's tough. It's so tough. It's not tough, but it's like there's a different. People assume that you're doing well or you shouldn't be doing comedy if you're not like an outsider. Like you're not you don't look like somebody that got beat up in high school. You look like somebody that picked on people in high school. Mm-hmm. And it's just so funny to me how many things your parents have set up for you to be so hateable. I know. They really did so much. I inherited this. They named you Spencer.
Yeah. Spencer wasn't like a douchey name, though. Spencer Pratt did that. Like, growing up, I hated the name Spencer. In the 90s, all the cool names were like one-syllable names.
Yeah.
Chris, Nick, Kyle. I thought those were all the cool names. Like Spencer's.
I think I've had one of each of those.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you've had. You know, I wanted to be like always like blowing bubble gum on my skateboard. Bart.
Isn't that Bart?
You know, something cool. I wanted spiky hair.
I wanted Garfield.
Yeah, I hate it, but my name. I thought it was so dorky. And then Spencer Pratt came along and like made that became
it.
the douchebag name.
Yeah.
Growing up, I thought it was such a nerd name, Spencer Reed.
It just sounds like a kid like that got to play polo when he was younger.
Yeah. Now looking back.
Yeah, it just sounds like, I don't know, like you're related to some Vanderbilts or something like that.
Yeah. No, I wish. Just
you're like, nope, just a mom throwing nylons on my
just my mom. I mean, what an insane
How did your mom fall into, like, it's so funny because you guys, like, your dad's, like, your house is, you went to fucking ski trips. Yeah. Like, Christmas, it's like I stayed at your place so I could do comedy shows while you're, like, on at this beautiful lodge. And I'm like, no, my family fell apart. And you're like, I was like, you don't have anywhere to be? You're like, it's Christmas.
I know. Yeah. Dude, I was like, comics are so weird. You're always, like, inviting me to, like, hey, like, Thanksgiving at my apartment. It's like, I'll be with my family. And so should you be.
Yeah, like mine just full on fell apart.
Yeah,
like,
well, especially for a lot of these comics, I'm like, hey, why don't you grab a flight? Your family is supporting you and your comedy career. Why don't you go see them for Thanksgiving? I'm sure they'd love to see it. I do get so jealous
of that. Yeah.
It's like, no, there's a mic on Thursday. I must attend. It's like, to go see your family.
No, like I'm like, I would love if we still had shit like that. But it's just so funny because I picture like, God, like what your mom seems like it seems like she kind of fell into it. Like she hit a good scratch ticket.
Well, she's lost it all. My mom's an Uber driver in Palm Springs now.
Oh, that'll.
Yeah. Ooh. Like I mean, she's been, because she remarried, and then it didn't pan out.
That must be a fun Uber ride.
Dude, I know. I always think about this because you know how you just agree. You know how you just okay. You ever get in an Uber?
Yeah.
And somebody starts popping off. They start going off about.
Oh,
dude,
I
I was in an
know.
Uber. I was in an Uber with this dude, and he was a Muslim dude, and he started telling me about all of the really clear, like in his mind, like scientific, data-driven reasons on why Jews were a problem.
And you're
But
like, buddy,
who am I to disagree? I'm in an Uber. I just want to get to the airport.
I'm on my way to
So I'm just like,
Carrabba's.
wow, I didn't know that. Well, they're not draining all the blood from their meat. That's fucking fucked up. What? That's not real halal, you know? And then, so I always think about my mom. I was like, oh, my mom's that Uber driver for people.
For sure,
Where they're
your
just
mom
like,
is, especially in Palm Springs. She probably makes friends. Palm Springs is wild.
Yeah.
Palm
She's
Springs.
making friends.
Oh yeah,
She's trying to find a husband.
Love it.
Driving dudes around. Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. That's what my somebody offered me a job at a Ferrari dealership, and then I didn't think of it, but my friend was like, "Take it, not because you want to be the best Ferrari salesperson, because just meet a guy there."
Right. So he can
Just
cheat on
meet
his
the-
wife with you in his Ferrari.
No, in my mind,
Nope.
it's a single Gatsby-esque dude.
You've never seen that movie. The guy who buys a sports car from some girl 30 years his junior and marries her. No.
That's Pretty Woman.
No, it's
Pretty
it's not.
Woman is about a Ferrari.
Pretty Woman was a lovable prostitute.
She's just the sweetest of prostitutes.
Yeah. By the way, I didn't really get that movie. Like, everyone told me that I had to see, not everyone.
Everybody was telling me
I had
you
heard
gotta
about the
see
movie Pretty Women and I watched it. And it's more factually true.
Everyone's banging my door down.
It was one of those movies, if I recall, I was tired of getting texts at 3 a.m. from all of my friends saying, have you seen it yet?
Yeah. I'm tired of going to school. It's
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Tell me you've seen the bag scene.
I've actually never seen it.
It's not worth it. If I remember correctly, it's like she's a prostitute. This dude's Richard Gere's lonely, and he buys her and kind of buys her for the weekend so that he just has like a slam beast.
Yeah.
He just wants a
Companion.
dumpster
Hey, this guy.
for the weekend. And so
He just wants a good old slam pig.
yeah, and then
for the
just like she's like kind of pitiful. So then he gives her like a bunch of money to go shopping because she was I don't know, treated poorly at a boutique store because she's a lowly prostitute.
Can you imagine you go to Bloomingdale's and you're like, I can't believe they're rude to me.
That's
like,
what it
"You're
was.
a
They were like,
prostitute."
listen, man, they're paid on commission. They're trying to save time.
Yeah.
And so then she shows back up with a guy's credit card, buys all these clothes, and is like, you made a big mistake. Big. Like she steps into their store to show them the big mistake. And it's like, it's still like, they were right about you. You just got lucky that this guy gave you his Amex. But
molded
like,
so many minds, like Cardi
Yeah.
B and Mulatto.
Mm.
Like that was probably a very formative movie for girls
what
like
movie?
that.
Oh, Pretty Women.
Yeah.
What was it? What did you just say about
I said it was
Mulatto?
probably formative for like Cardi B and like Mulatto. Like they probably watched that as
Oh,
girl.
yeah.
It was like, hey, just act like a hooker and
Yeah, no, I think
get the bag.
Cardi B was probably watching a ton of Julia Roberts movies.
She's real.
Runaway Bride,
4 weddings and a funeral.
Under the Tuscan Sun. Yeah, I see that influence.
Cardi B is full on influenced by Julia Roberts.
You know, you can tell from the nails that she's a huge Julia Roberts head. I'm sure that was her influence.
Anybody being a Julia Roberts head is
Yeah.
fucking great. I have friends that love Sandra Bullock movies.
I'm one of those people. I love Sandra Bullock.
She's always the same person, right? Just kind of
That's all I
a
want. Don't change.
hey, Sandra,
like-
stay you.
I like things being exactly what you thought they were because it gives you a feeling of confirmation, not confirmation bias, like confirmation validation.
Yeah.
New York is great like that because you go to New York and it's exactly what, like sometimes you see stuff,
Mhm.
you know, because I'm not from here. You see articles and or you hear stuff in the news and you're like, oh, New York's wild. But no, that's noisy people on Twitter. New York's not like that.
No.
And then you go to New York and then you see like, dude, the first store I ever walked into in New York had a bunch of Dr. Anthony Fauci action figures. And I say a bunch. What I mean is that the shelf space was for a bunch. They were nearly sold out.
That's so funny.
Then they had some AOC and then they had Ruth Bader Ginsburg for some reason, even though she's dead.
Some reason.
That was, and I saw that at a few shops in New York. And I was like, oh, people buy Dr. Anthony Fauci action figures.
Yeah. Also, like, how reputable of you of a doctor to have.
Dude,
Merch.
listen, just like Columbus, just an Italian grade. Why are people trying to pretend that we're
We are
like into doctors now?
Huh? Okay. I think there's something about them that, like, because people are always like, what's up with the vampire and the weird, like, why are girls into these movies about like dangerous men and stuff like that? There's something about like surgeons and like doctors in charge that you're like, he's got control of the situation. Like, he seems alpha in a way that's like evolved for our time period.
Yeah, because when I see Dr. Fauci sweating on C-SPAN, I'm like, well, that guy's got this under control.
I'm not a fan of him because I think he's more of he's like a talking head. I don't think of him as like he's the one that came up with he's in control. Yeah. But like in other situations, like I think Dr. Andrew Huberman is like the sexiest man I've ever seen in my life. I think he's so hot.
What about Dr. Phil?
I don't think he's actually a doctor, is he? I think he's one of those people that has like a PhD. I think he's like Indiana Jones. Like
he's good. I like Dr. Phil because he does like the comedy equivalent of just straight clapter, where he says the most obvious thing where it's just like, this man, they'll introduce a guy and she's like, he beats me every day. He stuffs my head in a crock pot and slams the lid over me every day. And he doesn't do any chores. And then Dr. Phil will be like, let me tell you something. Young man, that is not right. And then everybody just loses it. It's like, yeah, I could do this show. Yeah. I can tell people that they shouldn't slam their wife's head in an oven repeatedly. Yeah. It's like, I'm a doctor too.
Young man, you need to pay your child support. And
everybody's just like, you tell, dude. My mom quotes Dr. Phil so much.
Oh, hell yeah.
She loves her favorite one is she goes, and Dr. Phil says this all the time. He says, how's that working for you? I was like, that's not a fucking...
Hey, did you hear this little quip from Dr. Phil?
Oh, I know a great Dr. Phil quote. How's that work? I was like, Mom, that's just a question. That's not even a piece of wisdom. That's not a solution to anything.
That's a way to uncover more information. Yeah,
that's called a discovery question.
Dr. Phil, like good old Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil is imagine going in for some like heart surgery. And your doctor comes in, he's like washing his hands. It's just Dr. Phil. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is
I do like that. That's a body type. That's just like a man that age type. It's like the Dr. Phil, like bald, got that like
big ass.
Got that big old build.
Yeah.
It looks like a walrus build.
Yes.
Like just that big old guy. Right. I remember I had a gynecologist that had that build in Austin. So this is, I had nightmares trying to find because it's like here I'm spoiled. It's like Cornell trained doctors, like in Mount Sinai, like the best of the best. And so I was like very nervous, like finding healthcare in Texas. And I find this guy who's like a PCOS specialist because I have polycystic ovaries. Nobody really knows too much about it. This guy specialized in it. And I was like, I'm going to this guy. His name verbatim was Dr. Love.
No, and he's a gyno?
Yeah, Dr. Love. And he's built like he's a walrus guy.
Yeah.
He kind of reminded me of the bad guy from Sonic the Hedgehog.
No, yeah.
Yeah, built like that.
Did he also reach into your pussy with robot arms?
Yeah, all these rings came out.
Like,
I was like, finally a ring, you know? Finally, is one of them a size 7?
He's like, at last, the Nuva ring.
All these Nuva rings?
Yeah. And then a actual hedgehog crawled out of my pussy and chased after it. And he was like, gotta go. And he bounced away in a weird
Texas
UFO.
Is wild. So Dr. Love, I remember going to his office. This whole situation was horrible. It was like very homey. It looked like it like just came straight out of like Home Goods, like had and then it also had crosses and like Bible quotes everywhere. And I was like, this is a weird crossover for gynecologists. Like you don't want to read quotes from like Jesus Christ when you're about to be in stirrups. Yeah. Like it's just not what you want. And I'm like, but he's the specialist. He's the fucking guy. His wife is the office manager. So a lot of doctors do that. Like, or a lot of doctors' wives do that. They're like, I'm projecting my gold. You know, like they're not letting anybody steal her man. So she's a manager. They hand me this clipboard thing that's like answer all the questions. And I'm like reading the room. I'm like, I'm pretty certain I know how to skew this in my favor. Like, you're not getting.
Right.
And like one of them was like, how many partners have you had? And I was like, 8. And I remember telling a friend I just met in Texas like this same thing, and she said, "Did you say 8 to make them uncomfortable?" I was like,
You're like, is that a lot? Is 8 a lot of people to have sex with?
I was like, I'm in the wrong place.
You're like 8. Wait, he just asked anal sex, right? Was that ever like? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, 83.
Oh, sorry, I forgot the second digit.
And then you turn to the lady and you're like, always cut the number in half.
So bad.
Okay.
So at one point he gets in there, and this is like big old Dr. Phil guy in there, and he's making like doctor jokes. Like, he's down there, and he's literally like, "You got a really straight nose." And I was like, "What?" And I literally thought, like, and I'm like going back to like anatomy class. I'm like,
Yeah.
Nothing down there. But he's also telling me how he grew up on a farm. And so I'm like, maybe they call like the mare's labia, some part of it, like a nose. It literally took me until I got home that I realized that like he was literally down in the stirrups looking up at like the bridge of my nose.
Oh.
And that was like his little doctor quip.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, you were looking at my face when you're down?
He's trying to let you know that he's not looking at your pussy.
Which is what I paid him to do.
Which is what you want him to do. Because how else is he going to find all the rings?
He's trying to see how well he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's looking up the way that a woman in porn looks up while giving a blowjob. He's making eye contact with you like.
Yeah, he said, you got a real straight nose.
This. So was he fingers in you?
It was like he did the thing. Yeah, he was. Yeah. That was like his way of like, I guess that was like his southern way of making me comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just do the fucking
Do you ever start just kind of like gyrating into his fingers a little bit? You ever start, you're just like, that's not where it's there.
I start practice. I really do always have a male gynecologist, though. I think it's a real, if you build it, they will come situation.
Right.
Yeah, because I think you guys can like sniff out when another guy's been down there or around there. Can you? Do you not care?
I don't know.
I guess we'll have to pick back up on that in another episode.
Yeah, I don't know.
You can't tell if a girl cheated on you, you couldn't tell. Have you ever been cheated on?
Yeah, but it wasn't. I couldn't. You know how I knew is that she was.
Cum was dripping from her pussy.
Yeah, no, I was about to say she had cum coming out of her nose. That was the first clue, and I just
something's going on here.
A hoof print on her ass. I was like, "You've been fucking horses."
Mr. Hands, not you.
No, she was really easy to slide into. That's how I knew.
Oh,
yeah, and we hadn't had sex in like a few days, and I knew that. It's a whole story, but it's not that interesting. It was in high school, but like I knew she had every reason to cheat on me, and I had a feeling she was with this guy, and she was being dodgy and ignoring my calls, and then came and we started having sex, and she was like, I slipped right in, which is weird. This is all so gross, and then she started crying, and I was like, that's
the big tell,
dude. And you know what I did?
Tears.
You know what I did? I had her up against the wall. No, I had her up against the wall and I punched holes in my wall.
like a character from the OC.
Yeah, my poor mom, always having to patch up wall, just always coming
said,
up.
That's
like,
my boy.
What's going on? Oh, another. She's like, I'm trying to burn a cross down here, and you're punching holes.
I just learned that the North won. She said, "That's
the Battle of Manassas." It makes me so mad.
She said, "That's my special boy." All right, well, this has been fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, is that us?
That's us.
All right.
Cheers. All right, guys. Tune in next time. YouTube, Spotify, whatever the fuck. All right, cool.